You know, when we first got this land, it was a barren, blighted brownfield, nothing going on. And now there's just life of all sorts.
And several people actually told me that they thought that the birds that they saw in the garden were spirits of dead loved ones, like coming back to visit them.
Hi all, we're back with Kelley's story, and this time we'll be hearing more about people and bird stories around Kelley's work in the Florence Fang Community Farm. As I followed Kelley's story about her work around researching people, birds, and community gardens, we got to learn more about the farm and how much they have grown. I'm excited to share with you more about them. Here's a quick introduction from Teddy Fang, the Executive Director of Florence Fang Community Farm.
Good morning, my name is Teddy Fang. When I started this farm and we just had a barren piece of dirt, I didn't know what to expect. And it was the community that said, let's grow. But first we called this a community garden because I didn't know what we would grow. But now we have a community farm because we grow 10,000 pounds of food every year.
The Florence Fang Community Farm is located in the Bayview Hunters Point neighborhood in the southeast part of San Francisco. This underserved neighborhood is known as a food desert or food swamp. It all started on an abandoned lot on top of a Caltrain tunnel. The community farm was first established in 2014 as the Florence Fang Asian Community Garden to serve its Asian immigrant community, named after Florence Fang, who's a prominent figure in the San Francisco Chinese community. And since then, the garden has evolved to serve the whole community, rebranding in 2020 to become the Florence Fang Community Farm. The farm became an important space for locals and serves the neighborhood to this day, serving over 100 regular participating families, hosting community events, and has grown through the work of hundreds of volunteers.
We have grown ourselves based on the principles of diversity. We welcome all ethnicities, but it's not just about race and ethnicity. It's about different ages and different languages. Having the old elder immigrant Chinese farmers work with the young local Bayview youth, those are the kinds of things that we are about here. And I think also one of our big principles is food sovereignty. If you walk around the farm, you'll see all sorts of different kinds of vegetables. And that's what this farm is also about. Letting people take control of their own food, taking control of their own health.
It is really great to see what the community has created and that people are able to grow their own food. So coming back to Kelley's story, Kelley got in contact with Teddy so that she could conduct her research about people's relationship to nature and what community gardeners thought about birds. Along the way, she got to connect with gardeners and share a few of her experiences.
And in her research on birds, I think it really has awakened all of us to the fact that we have birds around. And, you know, especially on quiet days, you see birds hopping on, flying all over the farm. And it's just a reminder of what nature is about and what happens when you bring back nature.
Yeah, I think people told me really interesting stories about how they felt about birds or why they cared about nature. One thing that sort of surprised me and I wasn't expecting is a couple of people told me they garden for very spiritual reasons and to connect with the world in a more spiritual way. And several people actually told me that they thought that the birds that they saw in the garden were spirits of dead loved ones, coming back to visit them. In particular, some people told me that they thought hummingbirds were their mother, or in some cases their grandmother, coming back to visit them in the garden. And I thought that was really wonderful and really touching. Some people are really excited about using the gardens as a way to sort of teach their children about nature. They would come with their children and see a hawk and talk about how the hawk ate the other birds and things like that, and use it as a learning experience. They said the garden was kind of an extension of their child's education and also their family values and how they want to teach their children about the way the world works. And I thought that was really cool as well.
And specifically at Florence Fang, Kelley shared her experience about sharing her bird work with the community there and how it led to a heated discussion.
Also, as part of this project, I have sometimes done some talks about my science at the farms, telling people sort of what I'm studying. It was being translated as I gave it, by one of the sort of garden leaders here. And a really wonderful thing that happened was I was showing pictures of some of the most common birds in the garden, and I just remember I showed a picture of the Anna's hummingbird, and like this huge flurry of discussion broke out, and I was just kind of wondering what was happening because everybody was speaking Cantonese. I didn't know what was going on, and then people were like laughing and like arguing back and forth at each other, and he turned to me and he said, "Oh yeah, we're all arguing over what the name of this is in Cantonese." And I don't know, it was just so lovely to see people like being so excited about seeing this bird and being so engaged with like thinking about this bird and be like, yeah, I totally know this bird, I recognize in the garden. So that was just a really lovely interaction. I think that's been one of my favorite parts about this project, is seeing like the different types of connections and like really deep feelings that people have about nature and seeing how that changes between people as well. It was really cute. I really liked it. I never learned if there was a consensus on the name, but it's like a native species to California, right? So it like probably doesn't have any like proper singular agreed upon names, so like a lot of different things people can call it.
It was really fun to see people's reactions and how they relate to birds. And here are some results from the survey Kelley did with community gardeners.
And the experience of working with them has been really awesome. I mean, you can tell even here just now, the community gardens are really lovely. Like, they're beautiful spaces, full of beautiful plants and amazing birds and really lovely people and communities. It's just been really special to be able to spend a lot of my time in these beautiful natural spaces and with such interesting and welcoming and friendly people. So I've really enjoyed being here and doing this project.
I'm a community organizer, and I wait and see how the community develops and what the community wants to do. And what they've done here is they've developed a magical place. It has that magical effect of calming people down, making people think twice about this urban environment that we live in. And it makes people happy just to put their hands in the dirt. We call ourselves an organic farm. And what that means is that when you pick up your vegetables, there's going to be insects crawling around. So instead of being afraid of those insects when you see them in your vegetables, now we think, oh, that means that we were growing them right. So I think that just the ramifications of all this are so long-lasting. I think one of the things that we're also really proud of is that we've developed a youth program. And these youth, they come and they work with the Chinese elders, and both are learning from each other. It's an amazing thing to see that it's not just that we're teaching them about farming and teaching them about growing their own food. They are also teaching us with their wonderment and their new ideas and their uninhibitedness of the way they look at things. The farm has been around for 8 years now, and the potential of the farm in the future is just unlimited.
Community gardens are a wonderful place for people to connect better with each other and with nature. It was really inspiring to learn more about how much the Florence Fang Community Farm has grown, and I'm excited to see what comes next. If there's a community garden around you, I would totally recommend checking it out. And keep an eye out for plants, birds, and animals around you. Thank you for watching the series. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Bye for now.